From Wana Brands, welcome to Enhance Your Life. I'm your host, Jonathan Small, and each week I talk to people from all sorts of professions and backgrounds about how cannabis has enhanced their lives and how this healing plant can enrich your life too. Hey everybody, welcome to the Enhance Your Life podcast. I am Jonathan Small, the host of Enhance Your Life, and I'm really excited to introduce you to our guest today, Christopher Shade, PhD, who is the founder and CEO of Quicksilver Scientific. Now, Quicksilver develops detoxification protocols and unique supplement delivery systems. They have actually worked and partnered with Wana Brands in the past to launch a hemp tincture, which is now on the market, and a THC tincture that utilizes Quicksilver's nanotechnology. And we're going to talk about what that means exactly and why that is so sort of revolutionary when it comes to cannabis. So, Dr. Shade, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello, Jonathan. Happy to be here.
So, in very layman's terms, explain to me what Quicksilver Scientific does.
Well, we're a little bit broad. We're in the professional nutraceutical world where we make a lot of supplements that are sold to doctors, and then the doctors resell to their patients. But all of our supplements are based on this technology that enhances bioavailability. So bioavailability is making it available to your bio. That's your body. So how do we enhance absorption? So Quicksilver was originally known for toxin testing and detoxification protocols. We also got into a lot of metabolic work, how to rapidly put yourself into ketosis, how to build mitochondria, which make energy for you. And one of our big plays, because of bioavailability, is in the cannabis world, both in CBD under our label and THC under licensed labels like Wana. And we even make a delivery system for cannabis drinks in Canada that's done by Molson Coors in partnership with Hexo. That's called Truss Beverages. So it's this technology, this nanotechnology that makes these oils water soluble, and it makes them rapidly absorbed and very efficiently absorbed.
Now, why is this so important with cannabis specifically, this nanotechnology? What is the problem that you were solving?
Well, the problem is you smoke it, boom, you're high right away, and then it goes away. You're high almost too quick and too furiously. Or you can eat it and the clock ticks.
45 minutes later, boom,
The clock ticks and you eat more, and then boom, oh my God, I ate too much. What do I do? And so how do you bridge the gap between smoking and eating? And it turns out that this nanotechnology bridges that gap. But also, it doesn't just speed up the absorption. It also makes it a lot more efficient. So it's about 6 times more CBD in your blood per milligram taken for the nanoemulsion than in a conventional edible.
And this is delivered through tinctures or through edible? Is it anything?
It comes as a liquid, and so people end up calling it a tincture. So Wana calls it their Wana Quick tincture. Now, technically a tincture is a hydroethanolic extraction. That means water and ethanol blended and extracted from an herb. And then you got the little dropper bottles, classical herbology stuff. Then in cannabinoids, it tended to be just oils, hemp seed oils, MCT oils, olive oil that you either extract the CBD or THC and redissolve in, or you extract the plant in these oils, and they call those tinctures. Now, ours are little nano-sized droplets of oil stabilized by a layer around the droplet of phospholipids, and those are swimming in a watery matrix. So it's waters with little nano drops of oil. Now, what does nano mean? A nanometer is 1/1,000,000th of a millimeter. And so this is a very small unit of measurement. It's a droplet so small that you can't see it. And in fact, these dispersions of oil and water are like a salad dressing. They're called emulsions. And a salad dressing, you got a vinaigrette, oil and water, shake it up, and quickly it separates. Now, if you're into French cooking, you're going to make a moutarde, and you're going to have your oil, your water, and vinegar, and you're going to put mustard in. And now you shake it up, and it kind of stays together and very slowly separates. Mm-hmm. That's because the mustard has different emulsifiers in it that support the droplets' ability to exist in the water, because normally oil and water don't mix, and so they separate. And so the emulsifier allows them to come together. Now, you could put egg yolk in there too, and that would really let it come together. And that's because egg yolk has something called phosphatidylcholine, or a phospholipid. It's the same as lecithin that's used in making ice cream and chocolate, and there it's for bringing together the fats of the cocoa with the solids of the milk, and it's part of making it all smooth. So we get these emulsifiers purified out of the lecithin, and then we take those and we use those to disperse these droplets of oil in which our cannabinoids are dissolved into the water. Now, that's just to simplify this nanotechnology. Then there's this homogenization and
that's
all this
simplified. Wow, what you do is, if that's simplified, then I'm trying to follow, and that is complicated. But
come on, I started with a salad dressing.
I love the moutarde. I love that there's a moutarde in there, and no, it's fascinating. I mean, and the idea is that by doing this, your body is able to absorb it quicker, and therefore the effects of the cannabis can be felt quicker, because that's a problem, right? Is that people, like we're talking about with the boom effect of cannabis, either that or it happens too quickly and then it goes away right away. This kind of like levels out too soon or too late and kind of makes it like a normal pace, or not a normal, but a kind of more reasonable pace.
It's a better pace, And for the beverages, when Molson Coors came and found us, they said, we want this to have the onset and offset of alcohol. So alcohol is, 40 to 60 minutes to peak, and then another 2 hours to come down. And you look at edibles, and it's like,
it's all over the place.
2 to 4 hours to peak, and then another 8 down. And that's because, and the 8 down is just because you're still absorbing it after hours and hours and hours. So if we can get it all in, all of it coming in between 20 and 45 minutes, then all of it can come off in about 2 hours. And we did that. We got that onset and offset that looked like alcohol. And just to follow up a little bit on the emulsion, and the salad dressing. Now, if you just take raw oil, you make this kind of salad dressing thing in your stomach. Your liver secretes bile, this green fluid that comes out, and it emulsifies the fats in your diet and breaks them into these droplets that then get absorbed. So we're just doing that ahead of time. We're making the droplets smaller. We're making them so small, like we said in our salad dressing. Now it's this cloudy mixture that holds together when there's some mustard in there. We get it so small that it comes together so much that now you can see this, nobody else can. It's transparent. Right. You can see right through it.
So you're holding up a vial or some a bottle of, I can see it, a transparent liquid.
Yeah, it looks like an oil, but that's actually oil dispersed in water. But the oil droplets are so small that you cannot see them. In fact, they're smaller than wavelengths of light. The reason it looks cloudy in a salad dressing is light hits it and bounces off. Right. Here, the droplets are smaller than the waves of light, and so they just sail through it. They color it a little bit, but you can see right through it. And when you're that small, you're also coincidentally small enough to absorb right through the oral mucosa, under the tongue, through your cheeks, right into all those capillaries that are along your cheeks. That's why you bleed when you bite your cheek, because there's so much blood in there. And then when you swallow it, the stuff that didn't go in here will go in the upper GI tract. And so everything rushes in real quick in these little tiny droplets, gets into the bloodstream, and brings on that feeling of the cannabis. And it'll, people will start feeling it in 5 to 10 minutes. They'll really start feeling it in 20 and peak around 40.
So let's talk about that. You said 5 to 10 minutes when people will start feeling it. That's really interesting and unusual. But is it different even with the nanotechnology, whether you put it under your tongue or whether you swallow it? Because, does the system assimilate? I don't know. What's the word?
Yeah, I see what you're getting. Is it more efficiently assimilated in the mouth?
In the mouth than in the GI system.
It's just a lot faster. And so you're not going to get it all in there. So you get a fast version there, then you swallow, you get a little bit slower version. Mm-hmm. So when we did the drinks and there's no holding in the mouth, it was more like 40 to 60 minute to peak and at blood levels. And in the sublingual, it's more of like a 20, 25 minutes to peak.
Wow.
Effect then will keep rising up to 40 minutes because effects from cannabinoids keep growing, and getting into the blood is one thing, getting into the blood-brain barrier is a little bit slower.
What is the next stage of this? So you've created this really interesting technology. You've developed it. It really is solving a big problem in the cannabis industry that Wana is now putting in their products, because I'm sure they've heard from their customers that they want a more consistent, faster, more reliable experience. Is there a next phase of technology that you guys are working on? Because I know you're never satisfied, right?
No, we're never satisfied. So we've been working on putting it into powders, putting it into other solid forms like candies and gummies. Of course, the drinks are happening. We have some soft gels where the nanoparticles are formed in the stomach. If people don't like, some people are, cannabinoids are kind of strong tasting, so some people don't like those. So we have all those different forms coming. Of course, Wana's, they've released our simple ones. Here's a 20-to-1, a 3-to-1, a 1-to-1, just your standard ratio ones with a mild terpene blend. So the next generation, we've worked out a lot of these in R&D, is working in other botanicals, neurotransmitters. 5-HTP is a precursor to serotonin. When that's in there, it's more of a blissful ecstasy-like feel. We can put things that are speedier, dopamine precursors that are a little bit more like, that get you a little bit more wound up, and pair that with
Are these legal or at this point, or have we these compounds?
We're surfing. Different states have different regulations. Right. Some of them we can, like up in Canada, we have different herbal extracts in there.
Yeah.
We can't put the vitamins or the minerals or the neurotransmitters, but we can put natural plant extracts. So at Quicksilver, we specialize in blending all these things. You'll see in our CBD line, we have CBD with neurotransmitters. We have melatonin in CBD to make you sleep, melatonin and GABA to calm you down. We have melatonin, curcumin, and boswellia as anti-inflammatories for pain. And so we specialize in blending all these different parts of natural medicine together with the cannabinoids. And so as we work through regulations, we'll see what we're allowed to do to tailor the different things. And of course, as the terpene science is coming along, we can mimic, the different strain terpene profiles and the cannabinoid profiles, because in that little nano droplet of oil, I can have the cannabinoids and the terpenes all there in their exact ratios. And so you can really recreate the different strain effects.
Does this affect the taste at all of when you do this?
Doing this process?
Yes.
It sometimes makes it a little more intense because it penetrates into the tongue more.
Right.
And so we also have to work, with some of these things, bitter masking or getting really pure extracts to deal with taste stuff, or modifying your terpene blend. So there's a lot of stuff that we can work with that. A lot of, hardcore cannabis people like the taste, and they're like, oh yeah,
and some people want to mask
it. The newbies and stuff are like, oh God, that's intense.
Yeah. And some tastes just don't work, as I've learned from Nancy, and some of the Wana people do not work with cannabis.
No, they're just not synergistic, and other ones are very nicely synergistic.
Yeah.
And there's something I want to throw out there, and you might have been getting to this, but it's who's the demographic that wants this? And when we started in legalized marijuana, it was just, I can smoke weed. Damn, just give me a sack of bud,
Yep.
I'm just going to fire up my bong. I'm going to get a pre-roll here, walk around with a joint, and wow, man. And now we're on this second or even third wave of more mature users that want the effects, but they don't want to walk around with joints, or, they don't want to be vaping. They want it more discreet. And so these are in these little dropper bottles, and sometimes we use pump bottles, and boom, they just take this dropper, this oil. It looks like an oil, even though it's not. And it's much more medicinal. The reproducibility of it. Now, one, you hit a vape pen. There's no, I don't know how much I just took, and how hard did that battery come on, and was it really flowing? There's just so much unpredictability. And so these have meter droppers, and so that's predictable. But then when you're bypassing the GI tract, you bring a whole new layer of predictability. When we did a crossover study, same 10 people doing the nano format versus just a regular hemp seed oil based CBD, there was more than 100% variation in blood levels across the people as an average variation. So, say an average blood level of 1, one guy's like 0.1 and another guy's 2. There was, I cannot predict what my blood level is going to be relative to yours. But in the nano grouping, the variations were plus or minus 20%, 30% at the worst time point. So now when I'm trying to predict, I get this effect, you probably will too, or we're going to medical and the doctor's saying, well, I want to get this blood level, it's much more predictable. It's not like, well, take it and tell me what happened. Now take this and tell me what happened. Everybody's going to get a similar blood level.
Interesting. So, because that was my next question. Is it the same for everyone? I know that recently I tried a kind of a quick acting edible, and it said I would have the effect within 15 minutes, but it really wasn't until about maybe 40 minutes in that I actually started to feel it, which made me think that perhaps I have a slower metabolism than the average person taking that edible. And again, we're talking about edibles here, not liquid, so it could be a different technology. So is it different for different people?
Yeah. No, the pharmacokinetics of the kinetic, that's pharmaco is the blood level, kinetics is time. So the blood levels over time are very consistent. There's not a lot of difference.
And that's with the liquid specifically.
With the liquids, but GI, it's very different. And the GI fast acting, they're much less predictable, much less uniform, person to person. It can vary quite a bit. Now, your effect, for a milligram dosing is going to be dependent on your receptor system and its degree of resistance, or, how populated it is. We know that. That's always been the same. But I'm going to be able to get everybody's blood level pretty similar.
Oh, that's interesting. What about psychedelics? I know that
I like them.
Yeah, they're good. I know that, recently Oregon and DC legalized or decriminalized and legalized psychedelics. So, we're seeing that trend across the country. So I would imagine that, will this technology lend itself?
We're going to do exactly the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
And I've already worked out the delivery systems for it and the chemistry for it, for the different ones. LSD is different. It's very water soluble. The fat solubles are a little bit more predictive. They all have to go into the particle. The water solubles, some of them are outside, some of them are inside, meaning I can't get 100% of the LSD into a particle. But for psilocybin, especially psilocin, out of a fresh mushroom, I can get it all in there.
Wow.
I did it once for a shaman for peyote. And it's funny, everybody's like, the white people are like, but the purgation, throwing up is part of this thing, And the shaman, he was not a white shaman, it was an Indian guy from Gallup, New Mexico. And he looks at this bottle, he goes, oh, that's awesome. I don't have to lug a sack of peyote around. I don't have all these people puking all over the place.
Right. You can lose the buckets. Yeah, no, that's funny. And that would be interesting. That really kind of changes the whole experience, especially if, I think there is that sort of, I've never done peyote, but I see those, I've watched videos of people kind of lying around and waiting for it to kick in. But if it's like you take a tincture under your tongue and, 10 minutes later, you're on your way.
You're there.
Yeah, that would change the game. Well, this is so interesting. So in order for people to, obviously we know that certain Wana brands have this technology. For people to be aware of where your technology is, or where nanotechnology is, how do they read the label? How do they know?
Oh, you mean knowing what's nano and what's not?
Yeah, I guess it would be clearly indicated right on the label.
They'll call it out because it's a big value add. And there's a lot of people talking about nano this, nano that it's not nano, it's not stable.
That's what I was wondering, like, how do you know if it's true? Because, you know, we know the CBD, particularly the CBD and hemp industry, are not regulated. Companies like Wana are very, you know, do a lot of third-party testing, but
they're
a lot
very messy. All right, so it's pretty easy. You know, now from the outside, you're not going to be able to see it because they're not clear bottles. But if you get one, you open it up, say there's a drop or something. The liquid should be transparent. If it's white and looks like milk, it is not nano, but it may be an emulsion. There's a lot of CBD emulsions out there. They'll call them liposomes or emulsions. They might say nano, and almost no, I've seen like 1 or 2 that actually are nano size. So if it's transparent, it'll be nano. But now that may just be an oil. So in MCT oil, it's transparent too. So then you have to drop it in some water, and it should just disperse right into the water. You should be able to just stir it instantly into the water, and the water should be pretty well transparent. Might have a little blue like glow to it. But that transparency and water miscibility, like infinite mixability or solubility, that's what tells you it's nano.
Got it. Well, this has been absolutely fascinating, Dr. Shade. Thank you so much for clarifying this for us and really kind of, you know, giving us a little insight into the future of delivery systems here. I think that there's just so much to look forward to, and I can't wait to see how this progresses over the next few years. All right. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Great. Thanks. You too.
Thanks, Chris. Enhance Your Life is brought to you by Wana, the #1 infused product in the U.S. Wana's entire process is designed to deliver the same great experience time after time. They have spent years fine-tuning their recipes so that their products are delicious, consistent, and potent. For more information, check out wanawellness.com. That's Wana, W-A-N-A, wellness.com.